this is Overpass Insights. My name is Eric and I make apps. Now today I want to talk about some of the perils of upgrading your legacy apps to the new platforms. Okay, so it seems like every video I starts with an apology that I haven't done one for a while. So screw it, let's just do it again today. Sorry, I haven't done a video for a while. A lot of the stuff I've been talking about in the videos have been to do with, some of the stuff I've been doing on the side, the stand-up comedy, some of the business type stuff. But, today I want to talk a little bit more about app development, because one of the reasons why I haven't been doing videos is because I've been so busy. I've been doing gigs at night, going off and doing the open mic gigs, which has been fun and humbling at the same time. You just been like, you have a bad gig and you're like, ugh. All right, so there's been that. I've got contract work going on, so I've been very busy working for a client and just doing really, really cool things with them, which I'm really excited about. But then I've also got a bunch of legacy applications that I need to update. And that's what I want to talk about today, about the importance of source control and making sure that your development systems are, well, think about if you're thinking about using a third-party framework, to think about the future of that framework. Also to think about source code control and how important it is to get everything checked in so you have everything up to date, and also about warranties with clients. So one of the things that's been happening over the last 6 months is a lot of clients are coming forward saying their app needs to be updated. Not because of new functionality, just because they got an email from Google or from Apple saying it's going to be removed from the stores if they don't update it. Right? We've had this big thing at the end of August, where all of the Android applications that don't support Android version 33, which is Android 13, would just sort of be removed from the Google. No, it won't be removed from the Google Play Store. It will not be available to the latest phone. So if you have somebody with an Android 13 phone, they won't be able to see it on the Play Store, which is a big issue. Now, a lot of the client legacy stuff that I've done for clients has been done in Ionic V1, Flutter V1, React Native, a lot of stuff in Swift 1, Swift 2, and all of that stuff has to be updated, which, ideally you could just, sometimes you could just recompile it and re-upload it, but a lot of times you have to upload it to on Android, you have to bring it up to 33, and hopefully that should just be easy if you have native Android, but sometimes you might have stuff like with push notifications have new permissions, so you have to update those. I'm having issues with UDP connections on one of the applications, and that's done in Ionic V1. And so I'm trying to compile that. I have all these dependencies, everything like that, and it is a pain. It is really, really difficult. So it's really important to think about these legacy these other frameworks you use. You might have this component that was done by somebody open source on GitHub, and it's perfect for your needs at that moment, which is great. But at some point, they might not keep it up, or they might bring it up to date where you can't use the old version because you have to update everything else. That could be a real issue. The second thing is making sure your source code control is up to date. There's nothing worse than going through and pulling down source code and realizing it's, the last version. You look at the last version that was released to Google Play or the App Store is not the same date that was done after the last check-in. So you're thinking, all right, somebody didn't check that in, and you have to retrospectively go try to figure out what that was, or try to track down the original source code, which is always a pain, and you always get that with junior developers. Well, unless you're like, you keep on top of it, which most of the time I do. And the third thing is making sure that your clients know that when they need their application updated, or when Android updates to a new version, like they just have, or I guess we're on 14. 14 just came out, but 13 is a requirement. And in Apple, even Apple will say if you haven't updated your app in the last 90 days, in the last 3 years, 90 days. If you haven't updated in the last 3 years, then they'll just remove it in the next 90 days, something like that. So that kind of stuff happens, and you have to let them know that, okay, there's a new requirement. They need to have whatever Swift 5 or whatever it is these days, and your app is done in this, or and you just have to make sure that they understand what that is. One of the worst things you can have happen, because you didn't have a proper contract or terms and conditions in place to begin with, is somebody come to you and say, hey, Eric, you know what? This app that you did for me, 8 years ago, it's not working. Fix it. And you're like, well, that's not, the warranty period for that was like, whatever, 30 days, 60 days, whatever was in the terms and conditions. And this has nothing to do with that original code. This is something that, it just happens. This is one of the things the App Store progresses, and this is work that does have to be paid for. But it's difficult. It's just finding the time to squeeze everything in. It could be a bit difficult. And there's something I just wanted to have a little, I guess, you know what? Screw it. It's just a rant. I'm just having a rant about it because it can be overwhelming. A lot of the applications that I had that should have been upgraded to Android 33 by the end of August, I got an extension until the beginning of November, which is like 2 weeks away. And I'm catching up on all that. So my question to you, especially for those of you guys who've done client work over the past, have you find this to be an issue? Sometimes a client will just, they release an app and they're finding it's just not working and it's not worth even keeping it up, which is perfectly fine. But sometimes they do want to keep it up, and it's the headaches of trying to find all the dependencies, trying to get a Ionic V1 app to upgrade, or an old version of React Native or whatever, just trying to get it to recompile. And sometimes it should just work, but most of the time there's some little issue. Anyway, let me know in the comments if you've had the same kind of issues. I hope you guys are staying healthy, staying safe. Don't give up on app development, because it's still a lot of fun, especially with the AI stuff that's coming out and everything like that. It's so cool. It's so cool. Anyway, that is it for today. I'll talk to you again next time.